You know, I think the magnitude of this conversation is beginning to dawn on me. And it actually brings me to my next question. You've mentioned the word unicorn a lot. So, from a dream perspective, from somebody who's setting up a business, from somebody who's starting a business, where do you break the limitations of for you to even dream of a unicorn? For those who don't know what a unicorn is, he said it before, it's $1 billion business. Somebody who is seated here is having the conversation, and I actually believe that's what you're in the process of building. So where does your mentality get to, that even at the beginning that you are able to have that dream without it being a fantasy?
Let me first say, I think Kenya is way overdue for a unicorn.
So you're saying we don't have a unicorn in Kenya right now?
Not as you and I speak at this point in time. We don't. And when I say a unicorn, I don't know what the valuation of Safaricom is. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about big corporates.
Yes, and a Safaricom is not a startup.
It's not a startup.
Yes.
I'm dealing with people that have started a business and eventually worked their way to become a $1 billion business plus. Nigeria in the last 3 or 4 years has just had 3, 4, 5. They're just throwing them out there. And some of the businesses Nigerians have begun are businesses that Kenyans began a long time ago. And you know, with all humility, Kenya is without a doubt a tech force to reckon with in Africa. So why we don't have a unicorn has a lot to do with either our models of how we look at businesses, how we raise money for those businesses, how we do that. So the first thing I think that needs to happen, Richard, is that ceiling needs to be broken. This limitation that it's not possible to have a unicorn, or it's never happened before, I don't even have such ambitions. Once it started happening in Nigeria, I mean, even the one that was valued at $1.3 billion or so, Flutterwave eventually is now, I think, at 3.6 in less than a year. It just keeps happening. Once you reach that, you start going. But at the same time, there are people who have a problem with the fundamentals of those valuations. Because do the business unit economics really make sense? So there has to be a balance around unit economics and that. So I pray that in Kenya over the next 24 months to 36 months, we get to hear of 2 or 3 unicorns. I really hope I'm one of them. I don't know, but we're working hard in that direction, because I think for the younger generation, once that ceiling is broken, you'll start to see them popping up quickly. What happens when that when you have a unicorn, the global attention of your country also people start to pay attention. So what has happened in Nigeria is a lot of investment banks and groups are paying a lot of attention to Nigeria, even to Africa, as a result of some of those companies getting to that point. So when we come to Kenya, it will do something for the younger organizations, the younger companies. And so groups that I've seen that are helping, groups like Endeavor that are helping a lot of young companies or younger companies grow, scale, groups that are looking at connecting, opening those doors, those become vital to the younger generation, or those who are starting younger businesses, not necessarily younger generation, but those who are starting young businesses. I believe scale, the type of capital, speed to market, all these things factored in together start to make a big difference around reaching that type of status of a unicorn. Or let's not, if you don't want to be over ambitious, even a business valued at over $50 million, $100 million, it's achievable. It's achievable. It's so achievable, Richard. We just need to support one another, see these things happening in surrounding markets, and begin to build in a very smart way. We have to stop building just for Kenya.
I was going to ask, sorry to interject, but just to ask you that, is that then what made you dream? Your perspective is already, listen, you have a more African perspective than a Kenyan perspective, where you're like, our brothers are doing this, so why can't it be done here?
I don't even have an African perspective. So the business I've started has offices in Silicon Valley and in Nairobi. Why not? It'll cost me as much to have an office in Lagos in rent. And the perspectives of how people view you when you do that are different. Are you with me? They're different. So I'm sending employees from Kenya to America. I am. And they're gonna build. And they're building for our business. And we're realizing that there's some dynamics that are to our advantage there than here. Having the companies registered in Delaware and through the Silicon Valley are better in terms of prospectus for raising capital than they are necessarily for raising money only in Africa. So there is what I call a lot of lazy capital in Africa. It wants to see 10 years financial statements, brick and mortar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you know, to be honest, it's okay, but it's annoying. Things have changed. That's like using, let me find the right example because I have to find, that's like using my space for communication in today's age. That's like using Windows 95 for a fintech.
It's like using a MacBook Pro to write a letter.
Thank you. More like using an aerogram. And I know there's a generation that has no idea what I just said. To write a letter in 2022. And I've had conversations where people are like, no, I'd rather, you know, we'd rather buy a bank. It's digital age. And I'm praying younger people come and disrupt the living daylights out of some of that thinking and change the way a lot of these companies are going to think, right? I mean, who thought? I was being told the other day by one of my investors about this whole new cyber world. What is it called? Oh my goodness, I have to remember.
The metaverse.
The metaverse.
Metaverse, yep.
I mean, look at the metaverse. Whoever thought that we will have a virtual world that people are investing heavily in? And so
I own a piece of land in Decentraland.
Thank you. You see, and you start to look at things like that, and how companies are looking at this, and someone is still telling you, you know, you need to be introduced to our bank by another banker. It doesn't make sense. So I'm of the school of thought that let's disrupt this thinking, because for that next generation to get access, and it's the same way I think about real estate, it's the same way I think about housing for the next generation, disrupt what's old. When Safaricom decided to put a cell phone in the hands of a watchman, the game changed. The moment you are about humanity and making some changes on what it is you really believe in, you will see what will happen. So I want to see 20 unicorns in Kenya. I want to see 100 unicorns in Kenya. Change the game. Change the game. What are we going to innovate? Open up offices in multiple countries. And now that you can do it virtually, you don't have to have necessarily physical presence, but it does a lot for your story. It really does.
Story is key.
Story is key. At the same time, you have groups like Twiga that raised their first capital just by having only a Nairobi operation, not even Kenya. Right? Raised $50 million from Goldman Sachs and co. It's public knowledge. I'm not quoting anything there. But they only had business in Nairobi. So it's not necessarily that you have to be in New York and all. I don't know what you're trying to do, but if you're selling bananas like Twiga and fruits and vegetables and eventually growing to what they've become today, then localization may be very key. If you're doing fintech and you're looking at solutions, payment gateways, why limit yourself to one market? Flutterwave didn't limit themselves to one market. The whole payment gateway system is globally applicable. Globally applicable. And that's why they get those kind of valuations. So don't give me a payment gateway that can only work with MPESA. You've just killed, I mean, this fascination with just, even MPESA are trying to be global. So build for their global thinking and become a global partner for them and give them global solutions. Then you're talking.
Hold on. You've mentioned, you've mentioned something so key there. That's a way, from a business perspective, from a business idea. What you've talked about is figure out what, just to give somebody a business idea there, what you've just said, I don't want to run over it. There's an existing corporation, entity, company, business that is looking for a solution. Rather than you go and start from scratch to be that business and get the market share and everything, come up with a solution, sell the solution to them, and become and have
a global partner for them and grow by client. That's how the IBMs of this world grew. That's how the KPMGs of this world grew. You'll find Coca-Cola in Atlanta have a policy. Maybe, I don't know who their auditor is, but they'll say our auditors globally are Price Waterhouse. Good luck, Kamau and Richard and Sons auditor company trying to get the Coca-Cola contract in Kenya. You can't. Those companies grew by client. And so you can grow by client. And you can scale by client, and you can acquire through clients, and clients can acquire you.
With your first company, Mode, that's how you grew. You grew by?
It was my second one.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
With Mode, part of your growth across the continent was because of your partnership with Airtel.
Yes. So Airtel grows. Airtel says go to other markets, I go. MTN says go to other markets, we go.
Yeah, but you are also not exclusive with one partner.
No. So you grow by client, you grow by sometimes acquisition, you grow by partnerships. You can scale based on how you strategize your scale strategy, and you can also decide you don't want to grow outside of your market, but you're making enough happen in that market. You're looking at depth of that customer base and decide I want to drill into this customer base until I have 80% and not 20%. I'm not in the shallow end of my customer integration and relationship. I'm at deep end status, 80%. I've drilled into Richard until 80% of him uses me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Safaricom have done a good job with that.
Exactly.
My question as we transition, but I just want to ask this one more from the investor perspective. Again, you're right. We can spend 7 years talking about just the investor conversation, but I want us to touch on other things. African investment, has that opened up? Are Africans investing in Africa? I've heard you talk about American investment and Europe investment. Are we improving? Or does a young person starting a business, a fintech company, have to immediately start looking outside?